Welcome back to another edition of History in Your Own Backyard. I'm Jerry Parrish, and I'm here at the Greater Milford Area Historical Society, Promont, and I have with me Donna Amon, who's going to tell us a little bit about the property. Glad that you could be here.
I'm glad you're here. Welcome to Promont.
Thank you very much. Let's talk a little bit about the property here and the history.
Sure.
Then it has to understand a very detailed history, so I'll let you tell us all about it.
Well, this house, known as Promont here in Milford, was built in 1865, 1867 by a gentleman named William McGrue. And Mr. McGrue made his money selling produce, mules and horses, to the Union encampment at Camp Dennison. So he had a lot of extra money after the war ended, and he put it in this property here in Milford. It was on this prominent kind of a hill here in Milford, so I think that's where the name Promont originally came, high on the hill or on the hill.
Oh, I see. It's like
Okay.
a promontory. It's
Right.
got a lot of visuals around it
It
and
did,
such.
because you can see it's raised above the city.
Right,
So,
right.
That being said, he lived here for a good while. There was some interesting, it took a while to finish the house. The house itself was made somewhat by bricks that were made here on the property. We've located where we think the original clay slick was. The house is 4 bricks thick everywhere, inside and out, so it's not going anywhere. It's 3 stories tall, has a full basement and a tower. It's roughly 40 by 40. When it was built in 1865, it was pretty much just a square structure. It was just pretty much a 40 by 40 building. Things have been added on, a porch, a kitchen, an addition for a family room later on in the 60s and 1960s.
Now the style of architecture, it's very distinctive.
Yes, it is. It's Victorian Italianate, what's known as Victorian Italianate. It's unique. It was very popular at the end of the war. Lots of Cincinnati homes feature this.
Which war?
Civil War, sorry. Civil War. After this Civil War.
What are the characteristics of that style?
Okay, it's a very balanced look. It has all the floors, even the basement, have a center hallway and 2 rooms on either side. It is this house, and I'm sure all the others, have a very all the tchotchke or the elaborate emphasis was put on the first floor. So when you came to the front door, you got the full wow factor. You got the 14-foot ceilings, you got the shuttered windows, you got the 23 stairs, you got the stained glass window.
And there's like painted things in the ceiling
Medallions
here, medallions and everything, and there's corner molding all the way around.
That was very, it was a style then to show off what you could do. So
and the windows apparently have little balconies.
they're called balconettes, and the shutters that opened up from the inside on the windows that had balconettes did open up all the way, so someone could go outside and step outside onto one of the little balconettes on a hot summer night and enjoy the fresh air.
Well, on the first floor, which is the wow floor, and you said there's 4 rooms, 2 on each side of the center hallway area there, and one was a front parlor, and the other was a
back parlor.
Back parlor, and then there's a dining room on the other side, and then another room behind that.
And well, just to elaborate a little bit on that, the 2 parlors were separated by pocket doors, so that the men could possibly meet in one room,
right, and
the ladies could meet in another room. Men talking about the war and
business, important things.
Of course, and struggles with the farm and the business or whatever. And the women would sit in the back and perhaps gossip a little bit and do some needlework. And
where were the kids in all this?
A lot of times they were upstairs in the children's room being taken care of by a nanny or someone that was in charge of taking care of them.
Okay, and so you said there were 3 floors. So there's rooms on all the floors. So on the second floor, it was more of the family quarters? Like?
Living quarters. Those were mostly the bedrooms.
Okay.
And there was a bath, what we call a bath room, where a bathing room, where they might have done some bathing. But there were 4 bedrooms there, and one was smaller than the others, possibly a nursery, where the bathroom the bathing room cut into that. So
wow, the ceilings on the second floor are
tall, but they're not as tall as the first floor.
They're only 12 feet instead of 14. Oh,
exactly.
Gee, it really reduced in size. Now, the third floor, what was up there?
Well, that was sort of a storage area. It was also a room where you could send crying babies with the nannies, and they would, if the family was entertaining, you could send the children up there to be out of sight and wouldn't be heard and be taken care of, though. There would be someone to take care of them. In this particular house, on our 3rd floor, we had originally had 2 cisterns that caught water from the ceilings and provided the house with running water. And the unique thing was that heat does rise, so sometimes the water was even a little warm, so you had hot and cold water. So it was an interesting feature.
And these were huge cisterns too. They held like 1,000 gallons each.
I don't know the capacity, but they're good size.
Yeah, right. And that was provided the running water, but there were no toilets at that time, right?
No.
There was no indoor bathrooms.
No, we had no.
So there's a privy out back somewhere.
Yes. And chamber pots everywhere.
Chamber pot. Was it typical they had live-in help?
You know, we don't know for sure. I don't think the Pattison family, who we sort of modeled everything after, because they lived here in during the Victorian times, and so we kind of refurnished the house that way. Mm-hmm. Were a much more maybe liberal Victorian family than many were. They weren't as rigid with their rules. The kids played in the house. They brought their ponies in the house. Don't tell.
Wait. They brought their animals into the house?
Into the house. But so they were just country kind of kids. They had they had trees that they climbed in. The daughters maintained extensive diaries, so we do know that these things did happen on the property. So.
Now, you said this was the Pattison family.
Correct. John Pattison. John Pattison was the 43rd governor of the state of Ohio. He was elected in November of 1905. He took office in January, and unfortunately he was deceased in June of 1906.
Now, are there ghosts in this house?
People say there are.
Do you say there are?
No, I've never had any. I wouldn't mind it. But I've never seen anything that I couldn't explain other than that. The 1 bedroom, I see rumpled linens a lot, and I wonder if there are ghosts, this is where they hang out.
If there are ghosts, but we don't know for sure.
No.
Now, I understand that Promont is also the home of the Greater Milford Area Historical Society, and right. You archive here. It's a repository of historical items, is that right?
That's correct.
Can you tell me some of the interesting things that you have here?
In our collection, we have the Milford Coronet Band instruments.
Wait a minute, you've got the actual instruments?
We do.
This is the Milford or Milford High School?
No, Milford Cornet Band. It was formed right after the Civil War. We have all their brass instruments, and they played after the Civil War. Once again, it was a form of entertainment. Milford had an opera house, and they played down there.
I thought I saw a uniform up there, too.
We have the leader's uniform and his baton that he led the band with. And his name was Chamard, and actually we have some music that he wrote.
Now, underneath one of the beds upstairs, I noticed there was some kind of a little wooden implement, like a round thing. What is that?
Well, that's what you tighten the bed with. So you
tighten the bed? How do you tighten a bed?
Well, the beds were rope beds. They were, instead of a box spring, you they were woven with rope. And then, and beds could have been slept by more than one person. Many children could have slept in the bed, and so it got a little saggy in the middle.
All at the same time?
All at the same time. Yeah. It was also a trundle bed, too. There was actually 2 layers of children that you could put in.
Oh, my goodness.
But the thing is a key. It's a wooden key, and you would turn those ropes when you put the kids in, brought the kids in at night to put them in the bed, and you would, so that they would sleep tight. And then when you, if you noticed...
Wait a minute. That's where the phrase sleep tight comes from?
It does.
From tightening the rope underneath the bed to make it firm.
Sleep tight. And to add to the rest of the saying, there are also mattresses that were filled with sundry things, and there could have even been some little insects in there. So the saying went, sleep tight and don't let the bed bugs bite.
And we can see all that at Promont.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us for this edition of History in Your Own Backyard. We're here at Promont in Milford, Ohio, home of the Greater Milford Area Historical Society, and Donna Amon has joined us here. Thank you, Donna.
Thank you.
And remember, travel slowly and stop often. Bye for now.